See, before my channel started getting restricted and none of my comments would go through, there were many different topics that I discussed with people in the comments. I really like to try to keep the political opines in the comments on this channel. However, I seem to have made somebody very upset with how relentless I am on making people defend their positions respectfully. Until they get disrespectful, then I can be kind of sarcastic, which, is natural. So, to address the most recent thing that probably ruffled a bunch of feathers, with the recent elections that happened, what we're really seeing is the result of America Last policies. You see, in the midterms, when the base is energized, the base turns out. And it looks very much like the base was not energized. So when you think about it, being tied at the hip with Israel right now is harming MAGA agendas. It's splintering MAGA. People can defend whatever they want, but it's true. There are a lot of promises that were made to MAGA that are not being kept. And people can shill and try to act like these promises are being kept the same way Pokemon shill and try to act like Legend ZA is a good game. Even though it's missing a whole bunch of components that used to make good Pokemon games, like dungeons. The city should never be a dungeon. The president should keep their promises. Voters and consumers who deal with disrespect and still show loyalty allow the disrespect to continue. So, to my brothers who loved Pokemon, if you want good Pokemon games, you've got to stop excusing the slop. And to my brothers in MAGA, if you want good elections, MAGA has to be energized. We're not going to do ourselves any service by saying what the president is doing right now is not harming the conservative movement. The whole reason MAGA is at civil war right now with each other is because he's not keeping his promises. The dude said that he was going to end the endless money going to Ukraine. Has that happened? I'm sure a lot of MAGA stayed home because of that. You want to talk about a communist politician getting mayorship, and people want to point at illegals and this and that. You know what? A lot of the demographic that turned out for Trump in New York stayed home, or they might have even voted for the communist because he said he doesn't want to go over to Israel. And at this point, I think that the communist had it more right than anybody else. That doesn't mean that all of his policies are going to be good for New York. But these are the consequences of not living up to your rhetoric and not honoring your base. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I hurt the fragile people's egos by pointing these things out. But it wasn't just New York City that conservatives got their asses kicked. And if we continue to act like there's nothing wrong, the midterms are only going to get worse, guys. And if you continue to act like anything with the company label on it is good just because it has the company label, like Legend ZA, like Mario Kart World, you're going to continue to get crappy games. So, you have to put some of the blame on the consumers and the voters. Because you guys allowed this to continue with your complicity, with your complacency. So, if my comments have offended anybody, well, there's going to be a lot of upset people because I got a lot more to say. And I can do it this way instead of just talking to people. I can have one-sided conversations if y'all want me to. I'm trying to actually reason with people. I'm trying to actually get people to see from my perspective. I don't want you to necessarily agree with me, but we should have these conversations. And I know this video is a mixed bunch, 2 different topics parallel to each other that shouldn't be. But the spirit of it is quite mirrored when you think about it. And if you're a conservative and you spent years and years talking about Democrats being in a cult, what do you think it says about you when you blatantly ignore faults in your own party and you only cheerlead? You're guilty of the same sin you're pointing at other people for. You know, I started off staunchly right. I've moved more towards the center as time has proceeded. And I think the center is really where everything should be. But that doesn't mean that I don't have pride in conservative values. And right now, my conservative brothers out there who are making excuses for Donald Trump, you guys are actually hurting us. You can support someone by being critical of their actions. You can say, hey, I'm not down with this. Here, let me give you an example. I'm not down with the genocide in Gaza. Really not. I don't like it. I'm not down with anybody telling me that I can't call it that either. And I'm definitely not down with labeling anybody anti-Semitic for noticing that children are being killed and displaced from their homes. And if you want to say it's not a genocide, it's ethnic cleansing at the very least. There are some real issues with the support that this country has been giving. And what are we getting in return? I really ask yourself, what are we getting in return? I mean, it seems to me like the Middle East has very credible reasons to hate us right now. Man, I don't know if you guys realize, but 2 of the bombings that have happened in Iran recently have been against negotiation meetings. There was diplomacy. They were there for diplomacy. I don't care if they were terrorists. They were told to go there for diplomacy. These are issues. Why would I be energized to vote right now? I'll just stay home because I don't want to contribute to the problem. Anywho's, that's the news. Bye.